Hey everybody, what's going on? This is your boy Jordan from Jordan Come to Live Directly on YouTube. Thank you very much for coming back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome to my channel. Before we start, please subscribe and smash that like button, guys. Today we are reacting to Who Are the Romani? History of the Gypsy people. This video is paid for and sponsored by you guys from the Streamlabs link in the description down below. One of you guys actually donated $10 and asked me to react to this video. Thank you very much, Matthew. And yeah, let's start the video and let's check this video out. All right, roll it.
That's my best friend. That's my best friend.
Everyone living in the Western world has heard of the Romani before, even if they don't know them by that name. Their reputation truly does precede them, but the Romani, better known as Gypsies in the United States and English-speaking world, have many misconceptions surrounding their origin and identity, and even the exonym Gypsy is a bit of a misnomer perpetrated throughout the centuries.
I think in Jordan, people call them Noah. Yeah, Noah. Like when I was young, I used to see a lot of them around my area. But as it got my village became into somehow a city. All right, they started moving from around here, and you still see some of them around. But you have to go on the countryside of any city around Jordan. And until now, I don't think we have any integrations or successful integration between Jordanian people and the Gypsy people in Jordan. Even though some of them, it's not like a huge amount of them, no. Some families, they decided to integrate themselves into society, and they're actually now, they live in our neighborhoods, and they have some neighbors and some connections with other people. Yeah, and actually I guess one of my neighbors are originally Gypsy, but I think his great-grandfather decided to integrate themselves into the Jordanian community, and they're here. They're living among us. But what I remember from the Gypsies I used to meet when I was when I was like 5-10 years old, they didn't speak the same language. I couldn't even. I never actually understand what they're saying, and people don't go, they don't go to schools, they don't do any of the normal, Jordanian society thing, And it's not because the government's not trying, the people are not trying. They refuse to actually integrate to the Jordanian society for some reason. Well, because because there's no, I don't know, there's no way of communication, I guess. Even though there's a lot of stories about one of the most important and the most famous Jordanian national poet. He used to always hang out with the Gypsies, and he has a lot of amazing poetry about the Gypsy girls and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't recall any modern time kind of integration between the Gypsies and the Jordanian society. Unless they want to do it, it's not happening, And when they want to do it, they can do it. I just told you, my neighbor is a Gypsy somehow. But yeah, it's really interesting actually. Thank you, Matthew, for this video.
And may or may not be considered derogatory among Romani communities today. The iconic Gypsy is actually quite prominent in American pop culture and media, often being portrayed as swindlers or con artists, with fortune tellers being almost synonymous with Gypsy culture. Although in reality, the Romani are not an occupation or lifestyle, but rather a decentralized ethnic group scattered throughout many countries and regions, who have an identity crafted over the many centuries since their arrival in the continent as travelers and nomads. I have discussed the Romani in the past, and I attempted to tell both sides to the story, how the Romani communities of Europe do indeed have much higher rates of criminality, unemployment, and incarceration. However, they have without a doubt suffered major persecution in Europe and elsewhere.
You know, like here in Jordan, I don't think even the government know how to deal with the gypsies here. You know, like, come to think about it, I don't really understand how they got to Jordan. Are they in Jordan since forever, and there's just generation after generation they're still by themselves, not integrated to the society here? I don't know what's happening, because like I find it really hard to imagine them coming to Jordan these days, just through the border and just like that, because it's not that easy because of the fucking borders. That's really interesting, because like I don't think that the government or like the police or know how to deal with the gypsies here in Jordan. Like, you know, if there's any problem, it's not I'm saying like, hey, they have to go and check them out. It's just like they don't really. I don't think they suffer any kind of discrimination from the government, because they don't know how to deal with them. It's not because they're good people in the government. I think they just don't know, they don't understand these people, and they don't know how to deal with these people, so they just leave them the hell alone. Yeah.
Ranging from slavery in the Balkans to the near extermination of the Romani in Germany during the Holocaust. So it is heavily debatable as to whether their situation is a result of historic persecution or the other way around, but this video isn't going to argue over which came first, but rather give a brief history of the Romani, their modern lifestyle, and the many Romani subgroups today. A few months ago, we discussed the Anglo-Indian people, a unique ethnic group of mixed origin in the South Asian continent, being composed of English, other European, and various South Asian DNA, who have been located in the region for a few hundred years, while the Romani people are essentially a reversal of this, being instead descended from South Asian migrants to the European continent, although this particular group is far older than the Anglo-Indians. The story of the Romani begins over 1,000 years ago with the migration of a group of South Asian tribes from northern India out of the subcontinent and into the neighboring Middle East, passing into the Balkans through Anatolia around the 14th century, which was at the time still a part of the Byzantine Empire, while the Roma in the Iberian Peninsula passed through North Africa and arrived around the 15th century a bit later. The Romani were originally believed by early...
Until now, I love their lifestyle. You know, travelers all the time. This is fucking awesome. I wish I can do this right now, you know, literally. I wish I can just take my bicycle and go the fuck out of here. Without any borders, without any passports whatsoever. Just get the fuck out of here and travel the world without any, like, borders to keep me out of the other countries and stuff like that. That would be fucking awesome.
Europeans to have actually originated in Egypt in the Byzantine Empire, and hence where their exonym Gypsy comes from. And even in Albania and Kosovo, to this day, Balkan Romani are sometimes referred to as Egyptians, although admittedly, up until a couple hundred years ago, no one really knew where the Romani came from, not even the Roma themselves. There are well-established Roma minorities in almost every single European country, with each having crafted a unique culture and identity with major influences from their home nation. Throughout the centuries, the Roma have earned a reputation as mysterious nomads, frequently voyaging from place to place, although they did occasionally settle down and form their own villages, which can be found throughout southeastern Europe, as well as neighboring Turkey, where the Roma still exist in large numbers. But many have adopted local Turkish.
Oh my god. You know what? When I was living in Egypt, I was hitchhiking around there, and yeah, I met a lot of Romani people when I was hitchhiking. Because again, they just go for the countryside and they just live around there, and you can see that. And when you talk to them, they have a different language. They speak some Turkish, but they have a different language still.
Customs blending into the predominant society. The original religion of the Romani people was most likely Hinduism or another polytheistic faith. Although following the centuries of isolation from South Asia, they've adopted many of the surrounding religions, with around 3/4 of all Roma in Europe practicing Christianity today, most ascribing to the largest sect in their respective country, such as Orthodoxy in Bulgaria and Romania, or Catholicism in Slovakia and Hungary. While there are also large numbers of Muslim Roma in Turkey.
I don't know. In Jordan. I don't think they're Muslim. Some of them are. Yeah, some of them are Muslim Romanis, and some of them are not. But again, until now, there's no real connection between the Jordanian society and the Gypsy society in Jordan.
And a significant number still incorporate elements of their original polytheistic religion in their everyday life. Even though the Romani are spread across every region of Europe, by far their highest concentration is in the Balkans region, namely the countries of Bulgaria, Romania, and Hungary. And although official statistics of ethnic identification in these countries certainly do exist, with Romani percentages for each ranging between 3 to 5%, the Romani identification may be slightly or significantly underreported due to many Romani not participating in government censuses or identifying with another ethnicity, and hence unofficial estimates for the real number of Roma varies considerably, although Roma most likely don't make up more than 10% of any given country. Judging by official government statistics, there are around 7 million Romani people in Europe, about 1% of the population, although the real number could easily be double this amount, while a few 100,000 to a few million reside in Turkey, and 2 million or more reside outside of this region, mostly in the Americas. In recent years, ever since the ascension of the former East Bloc countries in Eastern Europe to the European Union, there's been an especially high emigration rate of Romani out of these countries and into neighboring Western European countries, which are seen as more tolerant and more opportunistic for the Roma people especially. And even though Romania and Bulgaria are not yet a part of the Schengen area, it's still significantly easier for Romanian and Bulgarian citizens to migrate to other areas of the EU than non-EU citizens. Large Romani neighborhoods or camps have begun to crop up in Italy, France, and Spain, comprised of their own.
Alright, here there's no camps, there's no villages. It's like 2 or 3 like tents, or 4 maximum tents. They travel together and they live together somewhere around some places in the countryside. It's not like a huge. They used to, like when I was a kid, they used to have like more people with them, and they used to just reside. Like I actually remember that at some point in my childhood, because like my neighbor was only like my house and 2 other houses, and the whole fucking place was like empty. There's nobody, and they used to always come like 2 to 3, like maybe 10 to 15 families, and they just like build up their tents just in front of my house, and they live here in the summer, the whole summer. And yeah, that was really interesting. They used to come and take water from our house. Interesting. Now I remember all of this. Again, thank you, Matthew, for this video. This is really interesting.
Roma population, along with recent immigrants from Hungary, Slovakia, and other Central and Eastern European countries. The Dom people are a group very closely related to the European Romani, believed to have migrated from the same region of South Asia a couple of centuries after the first wave of Romani passed through the Iranian plateau, and are located all across Central Asia, the Middle East, and North Africa, sometimes being referred to as Middle Eastern Gypsies.
So our gypsies are different than the urban gypsies. Okay. I didn't know that.
Somewhere around 3 to 5 million people. The Domari and Romani languages have a common origin in the Rajasthani dialect of Western Hindi and share many traits with other Indo-Aryan languages such as Bengali and Punjabi. The Domari and Romani languages are some of the only Indo-Aryan languages to have developed outside the Indian subcontinent, other than the Rohingya language in Myanmar and the recently discovered language of Kolosi in southern Iran, spoken by only around 1,000 people today, and it's unknown whether they're related to the Dom or another Western Indo-Aryan population. Because of the highly decentralized nature of the Romani people, the many dialects of the Romani language might not be mutually intelligible with one another, similar to other languages spread across a large area such as Arabic or Chinese. Although only 20 to 30% of Roma in Europe still speak a dialect of the Romani language today, in a fashion very similar to the Jewish population of Europe, many Roma have adopted the languages around them, while many still have developed mixed languages composed of Indo-Aryan and European vocabulary, such as Kalo, which is mixed with Spanish and Portuguese, or the many mixed languages spoken by the pockets of Romani and Scandinavia. Essentially, the Romani have many similarities with the Jewish diaspora in Europe, both originating in another area of the world, the Jews originating in the Levant, and the Romani in South Asia. Both have heavily mixed with the surrounding European populations to such an extent that appearance is quite variable among their populations, and both groups have faced harsh discrimination in the recent past, both being prime targets for destruction by the Nazis. The phenotype of the Romani varies considerably, with some clearly being of more South Asian stock, while others have a more mixed complexion, while others still may be able to pass entirely as native Europeans, especially those living in areas further into the European continent, such as the Scandinavian Kalo or the Irish travelers. Although historically downtrodden and isolated from other populations in Europe, many Roma, or people of partial Romani descent, have been able to rise to prominence in European countries. Although generally, just like most other European populations, the Romani have seen the New World as far more of an opportunity for success than Europe. Areas of the world with large European-descended diasporas will almost always have Romani communities as well, especially in Latin America, where the lines for racial identification are very blurry at times, and Romani descended from Gitanos in Spain.
Well, imagine how somebody like our age feels about like some Romani person like our age, our generation feels about the whole thing, you know? Like it's not something like you just wake up or like you just start to know what's going on around you in the fucking universe, and you understand that your people are just travelers and they have, I don't know if they have papers or not, they have passports or not, and they just have this specific and like closed society that they built for themselves. And it's really hard to just go out of that, you know? Just like it's really hard to go out of my culture, for example. You know, it's not that easy to just come out as, you know, as somebody like me from Jordan. It's not that easy, you know? You have to like fight your own demons, and you fight your own family, and fight your own society to go out of this fucking shithole that you call a society. This is too much, right? But still, like, it's just really interesting, yeah? Interesting how would somebody from the Roman people, from the, like the Gypsies, right here in this fucking time, moment in time, to actually, like, you know, just think about what the fuck is going on and why we're doing the whole thing, you know? And how come it's 2019 and we still have no passports, no papers, no homeland, no like clear characteristic of an actual society. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel it's really, really hard for them to actually integrate to societies, and because of their own, you know, internal struggle with their society and how they actually live their lives. Yeah, interesting.
The Inquisition to Latin America very often integrated into the white populations. The general ignorance of most early Americans over Roma identity and reputation allowed many to migrate to the U.S. and conceal their ethnic identity, leading to the general association of Gypsy with a lifestyle rather than an actual ethnic group. And the first Roma population to arrive in the U.S. were the Romani of the British Isles during the mid-1800s, with Eastern European Romani arriving in larger numbers during the Polish, Czech, and Slovak migration periods to the U.S. And there are perhaps over 1 million Americans of full or partial Roma descent today, arguably making them the largest community of any country in the world. Smaller numbers of Romanichal and Irish travelers also headed for Britain's other former colonies such as Canada, Australia, and South Africa, while Spain and Portugal's Roma population headed to their own American colonies, although as previously mentioned, they almost always integrated with the white population. And the only Latin American country that counts the Roma as an independent population is Colombia, where they're still severely undercounted in censuses. In Brazil, it's possible that the Roma number perhaps slightly more or less than that of the U.S., although a lack of a clear census count makes this difficult to determine. And children of Roma immigrants have fared significantly better than back in Portugal. And even former presidents of Brazil, Juscelino Kubitschek and Washington Luiz, were of partial Romani descent, the first and to date only elected national.
Interesting, so what happened here? Why it was easier for them to integrate to the United States society and to Brazil society, and they can't actually integrate in Europe or in the Middle East. Okay, maybe maybe it's about discrimination. Maybe because the governments and the people of the Middle East and Europe, they don't give the Romani people a chance to actually integrate themselves into society. Interesting, because it's the same people, it's the same society. When they go to the new world, they can integrate themselves. They are they became presidents of Brazil, for example, and then in the Middle East and Europe, they couldn't have that kind of freedom, which is interesting. Why this is happening?
Leaders of Romani origin in the world. Neither the Romani nor the Domari have their own sovereign states due to their localized distribution not really making up a large proportion of any significant area of land. And due to this, many Romani interest groups have cropped up in Europe in the modern age to protect their identity and traditions, and the Roma have been recognized as a non-territorial nation. Although it would be incredibly interesting to see what an independent Roma country would look like, similar to the plan that created Israel.
Okay, about the plan that created Israel. Guys,
no such drafted plans have ever been taken seriously by any European or American country, and it's very important to realize that ethnic Romanians from the country of Romania fervently dissociate themselves with the Romani and take great offense at the conflation of the two names, although they are indeed very similar. Either way, the Romani dress, language, culture, and way of life certainly distinguishes them from their neighbors, and they certainly have one of the more interesting origins of any European group. Be sure to let me know your thoughts on the Roma and Dom people of Europe, the Middle East, and the rest of the world. And perhaps just for fun, let me know where you think a potential Roma state could have been established. As always, thanks for watching, everyone. This has been Mason, and I'll see you next time.
Oh, thank you guys for watching. That was really interesting video. I learned a lot about the Romani people and where they come from and what's their language and what's their lifestyle and stuff like that. For me now, I don't really see a lot of them. I just see very small groups of Romani people around Jordan, and they just have their own life, their own lifestyle. They're always just camping out of the cities, in the countryside, and they keep to themselves. I don't think they speak, I think they speak their own language. I don't know what's their language exactly. They don't speak that much Arabic. It's really rare to find some of them are speaking Arabic. Some of them by themselves, they decide as a family to go out of that society and integrate themselves to the Jordanian society, and they do that too. They still have a very interesting and very specific kind of lifestyle, even when they integrate themselves to the Jordanian society. The things they do for work are very specific and very you can actually just look at it. Okay, that's it, this is what you're doing, and that's it. There's I think there's 45,000 people in Jordan from Romani people, and yeah, they're all over the place. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe and smash that like button, and I will see you in the next one. Peace the fuck out.
That's my best friend.